Live from where you live.
Emma Britton on the BBC Somerset bus.
BBC Somerset.
You're listening to Emma on Saturday morning, and it's time for Somerset Lives. Every Saturday morning, we find out about the life behind an interesting person here in the county, their background, their passions, and their interests. So, who's our Somerset Lives guest today? Possibly my youngest Somerset Lives guest to date, Richard Bexx, is 25 and was born and grew up in Reading in Berkshire. He moved to Somerset with his family in 2004. Richard is the manager of a spiritual retreat centre near Bridgewater. The retreat is a family-run centre built by Richard and his family over the past 6 years. This is their first year open to the public. When Richard left school, he had no idea what he wanted to do, and he says he spent a year in the woods, meditating, making tree houses and keeping fit. He says he was in his element at this time, and he loves his own space. I hope he doesn't mind the confined space of the BBC Somerset bus with me this morning. Since then, he's worked in a supermarket as a care worker and with people with autism. His main focus now, though, is as manager of the retreat that he and his family have worked really hard to renovate and prepare. Richard loves exercise, fire spinning and photography, and he's really into raw food. He says he doesn't cook anything. Now, I don't cook anything, but that's in a different way. Well, Richard says he's not your typical hippie, a religious person or into any particular belief system. The path he follows is what suits him, the path of happiness and the things around him that he likes doing. Can't wait to find out more about him. We welcome Richard Bexx to Somerset Lives. Good morning.
Good morning, Emma.
It's really nice to meet you. Not your typical hippie. I like that because you lay it out there straight away. Because of what you're into, and we'll talk about your work in a minute, do people have like a preconceived idea that when you say you like meditating and being outdoors and, you know, and eating only raw food, they sort of pass judgment on you?
Oh, they do all the time, but it's brilliant because it's good to make people aware of these things, which is, you know, I've been raw since February, really, this year, and it's been amazing experience. Everything's just really heightened for me, spiritually and just mentally, everything.
So eating just raw food, as a girl who loves her food, that fills me with dread. Is the idea behind it a health message, or?
Well, actually, my diet's been changing for the last 7 years. 5 years ago, I just went off meat. My mum did me a nice big, she's probably listening right now, but she did me a nice big plate of like bacon and stuff. A bit into it one day, I was like, I just can't eat this, don't know why. So I went like aquatarian, which is eating fish as well as vegetables. And then I suppose the last year I went more vegan, and then this year more raw. And just progressing really, but my main bulk of diet is just fruits at the moment. That's mainly what I just have.
And how health-wise, how has it affected you physically?
Much better. I used to get like really bad like pains, well, not pains in my knees, but like clicks as I walk upstairs. Don't get that now at all. Just feel more fresher, more positive. And my dreams have just been more intense as well.
Really?
So, yeah, I can remember pretty much every dream I've had every night.
Oh, you see, now I get really annoyed because I can't remember mine. I know they've happened, and I know some of them have been a bit bizarre, but when I wake up, I can't remember them. That might be the way forward. Let's talk about your young age. You're still only 25.
Quarter of a century.
Well, true. When you were at school, I know school wasn't great for you, was it?
No.
Because you had dyslexia and some learning difficulties as well.
I did, majorly.
So did you enjoy school, or was that a bit of a trial?
I hated it. I really did. It just, I didn't have many friends either at school, and I actually learned more actually leaving school than I was at school. I suppose on my own self-discovery, just knowing who I was and finishing school, like, well, what now? And that's when I was down the woods sort of making tree houses and meditating, and it just all came naturally to me. I didn't read up on it at all. It just all flowed, really.
And you were really into martial arts as well?
Yeah, definitely.
Are you still into that now?
Not anymore.
So when you were younger, martial arts, and you tried virtually every one going?
Pretty much, but about 14 different ones, but I stuck about one different one every day for about 2 years.
What did it teach you?
It taught me a lot of awareness around myself, a lot of confidence. My dyslexia started to go after that, because you're like balancing your whole body, and you're balancing your whole two parts of your brain, the left and your right side.
And so, are you not dyslexic now?
I don't. Partially, there's little bits that I find I can't understand, but like now it's majorly just it's not there.
But not, nowhere near what it was like when you were at school.
Nowhere, no.
How interesting is that?
Yeah.
That is really interesting. Was there a point, when you realised that you had a different outlook on life than your mates at school or when you left school? Because you're not your stereotypical, 25-year-old, are you, really?
No, I know I don't do the normal things that 25-year-olds do, I suppose. I don't know, but there's probably some people out there hidden away.
Well, there is, but was there a point when you realised, or was it just been a natural journey?
It's always been like that. I mean, I've never really fit into lots of social groups or friends. I've always been on my own a lot of the time. Had some friends here and there, but I've mainly liked my own space and just doing what I enjoy. And feeling more free, I suppose.
And some people might think that's a little bit sad. They might think, oh, God, I haven't got any friends. But
I do.
You have friends,
yeah.
But you just live your life in a little bit of a different way, but you like it.
Yeah. And I've got a girlfriend now, and she's probably listening right now, and, it's just her in my life is, been really changed, and she's like my best friend also. So it's brilliant.
What about your family? Because we come on to talk about the retreat in a moment, and
Sure.
I know it's been a real family effort. Did your family influence the way you decided to sort of lead your life in a slightly unconventional way?
Not at all, actually. It was, I suppose, when we moved from Reading to here in 2004, it was all really big ideas, what's going to happen, what's going to be like. It was mainly my father's input, and I just went along with it. And at that time, I was going through a huge sort of shift in myself of like this spiritualism and martial arts, discovering myself, and it all seemed to flow perfectly well when we all moved together. And it just keeps growing now. It's brilliant. So
we're going to talk about Parsonage Side Retreat, which is what you and the family run now, and you're the manager there. First of all, it's at Otterhampton, isn't it? Which is sort of near Cannington, so just outside of Bridgewater. Yeah. Can you remember what it was like when you first went there to view it for the first time? What did it look like?
Well, it felt like home, just walking straight in the door. Just had really nice energy to it. But looking at it, it was just like an all sort of big country, sort of big cottage, really. But now it looks totally different because we've renovated a lot of the place, done like a lot of extensions and painted the whole place. It's been a whole family effort, really.
And I know you're very sort of passionate about its position, because it sits on a ley line, is that right?
Yeah, 2 ley lines, actually. If you don't know what ley lines are, they're like energy, like grids that go all around the earth. They're like pretty much like meridians on your body. If you look at the sort of etheric, esoteric sort of energy parts of your body, you have these meridians that send energy all around for your body. The earth is the same thing. It's a living body. It's growing all the time, has all these different moods and everything, That's why you get tsunamis and all sorts of things.
Really? Do you believe that?
Yeah, I can see that. It's really obvious.
So the ley lines, people might be more familiar with hearing about ley lines at Glastonbury.
Yeah.
And sort of spreading out from Glastonbury, but this is a world ley line, isn't it?
It's a worldwide one. It's everywhere, because it's where you get a lot of energy from. The trees absorb from it, and a lot of holy sites are built on them, like stone circles, like Stonehenge, for example, and some really old sites. A lot of old churches as well sit in ley lines, because the old people in the old times knew where these ley lines were to put a church on.
Did you know Parsonage was on a ley line before you went to see it?
We were told actually by a medium before we went there that it's going to be on ley lines.
Really?
And I did some research. I got some old survey maps, some ones that you walk on.
The Ordnance Survey ones.
That's right,
yeah.
And I got I marked every single church, every sacred site, everything, and got a huge ruler. And I found like all these ley lines going for everywhere, and 2 went for our property, and loads went through Glastonbury Tor. So
fascinating stuff.
Amazing stuff.
Anyone listening who's thinking, no, this is a bit off the wall, we are going to talk a little bit later on about about different people's beliefs, and that there are lots of people out there who do engage with this, and I know there are many people who don't, so we will be talking about that in a bit. So you've had to work quite hard on Parsonage to renovate it, lots of painting, lots of building, and were you quite skilled in all that before you started?
Well, we're skilled after now. But no, I learned actually loads from building a place up. If I could do it again, I'll be prepared, but I think I'll just stick with this for the time being.
Okay. Well, what is the aim of Parsonage? What do you aim to do there?
It's not to have a religious belief system as such, but to have a place of truth where people can go to, have healing on all different levels, physical, emotional, people can gain truth for themselves, because a spiritual path is very personal. It's not something you can tell someone that you've been through and they can understand. It's something that you have to experience for yourself. So workshops that are going to be there are for people who want to go there to experience things that, you know, they can experience themselves, take away and say, I really enjoyed that. I know more about myself.
And do people travel to come there? Do they come from, you know, far away?
Definitely. We've had a few workshops recently that people come from Russia, Italy, France.
Gosh.
Yeah. All over the world, and it's growing.
And it is a business, isn't it?
As well.
It is a business. So, and that, you know, people will be aware of that. So, but people... there are people who believe in this kind of stuff and who want to engage on it on many levels, because otherwise places like this wouldn't exist.
Exactly.
Because if they didn't, you would be sat there bankrupt and not able to run the retreat.
Yeah, definitely. That's right.
Okay, well, coming up, we're going to talk about the kind of things that go on there.
Sure.
Some of them which some people might think are a little bit odd, but Richard is totally cool with that and is happy to talk about that. And we'll talk more about Richard's life and what he plans to do in the future. We're talking to Richard Bexx. He's my Somerset Lives guest today. You're listening to Emma on Saturday morning. We're in the middle of Somerset Lives with my guest, Richard Bexx, 25 years old, my youngest Somerset Lives guest to date. Born and grew up in Reading, moved to Somerset with his family in 2004 to renovate and now run the Parsonage Side Retreat. It's a spiritual retreat centre in Otterhampton, which is near Cannington, just outside of Bridgewater. Richard, some of the things that you offer at the retreat,
sure.
Some people will consider to be a bit way out. Okay, I was having a look. Lucid dreaming.
Yeah.
What does that mean? That sounds like something you've done when you've had a good night out.
Maybe. Lucid dreaming is basically, we've all had dreams, so we all can relate to having the dream state.
Definitely.
Lucid dreaming is a next step up from that. Is where you're in control of that dream. So basically, you can. If you're in a dream, you can just go somewhere in that dream. You can change the dream around. Everything's just as real as I'm being here in the room now.
And what do you achieve by doing that? Is it sort of, you know, a bit like fantasizing?
Maybe in a way, because it's kind of like here, like we have a dream to do something here, and we create it because we either make the energy to put the work in to make that dream come true. But in an actual dream, we just if we're having a dream of something, say we're on a fairground or something, and we want to go on a roller coaster, we just go on a roller coaster we want to go on, you know? It might be something that's in LA or something that we can have just in that dream.
Wow, I love it.
Yeah.
A bit like sort of, is it like when you do things like hypnotherapy and things like that, where they get you to imagine situations? And some people use it as treatment for phobias and things like that, where you have to imagine yourself in a situation.
You can, definitely, but I suppose when you're in the dream state, you don't want to think about your fears. You want to think about how,
good things.
Good things are going to happen.
There's another thing that you're involved in that I hadn't heard of before,
Sure.
and I'll try and get you to explain it if you can. It's called Hemi-Sync.
That's right.
Now, it's a patented name of a system. What does Hemi-Sync mean and do?
Well, this is why we came over to set up the retreat. It's my father's impulse to do that. He went to America, which is where the Hemi-Sync came from. It's short for hemispheric synchronization, which is basically your both halves of your brain coming in synchronicity. So my father went out there to America, a place called the Monroe Institute. It's quite famous out in America,
right.
Where they developed all this technology. Came from this guy called Robert Monroe about 50 years ago, 1950s, and he was a sound engineer, listening to lots of frequencies on headphones all the time.
Okay.
And he started having out-of-body experiences. If you don't know what out-of-body experiences are, they're basically we're all more than our physical body. You can believe it or you can't believe it. But if you've ever been in a dream and you think, wow, that's really real, it probably has been real, because there's two halves of us. There's a physical part of us, which is the physical body. There's the other part of us, which is all the information, our thinking, our consciousness. And we project out of our body every night, just in a dream state. Just hover above our beds, just hover above our body.
Sounds like something out of a film.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So basically, he started having these out-of-body experiences. No one knew what they were. He didn't know what they were. He went to doctors, and he just went with the flow, discovered it for himself, and he started having hundreds of out-of-body experiences. And he found out as this technology, the technology he was listening to on the headphones was altering his brainwaves. You got alpha, beta, theta brainwaves all the time. And at the moment you're in alpha. A lot of people listen to this radio station now are in alpha.
Right.
So when you're in sleep at night, you're in like theta. So all it is, Hemisync is a CD that you listen to that puts you in a brainwave state using the two halves of your brain, using the left and right headphones. Puts a different frequency in each ear, so it's all safe.
I was just about to say, that was my next question. You could see it written all over my face. I was thinking, oh my God, he's messing with my brain. And I was thinking, oh, but no, like, you picked up on that straight away. It's,
Sure.
you know, people will be thinking, oh, is this a bit weird? But again, is this a positive thing? This is done to get a positive experience.
It's all been scientifically proven. It's helped thousands of people worldwide.
So there's evidence for this.
Evidence, you can find evidence on the internet. And all it does is, for example, puts 100 hertz in your left ear and 110 in your right ear. So your brain recognises the difference of 10 hertz. And that's where it creates a third signal in your brain. And it helps people with sleep problems, with stop smoking. It could be weight loss, stopping fears. It can be like all sorts of things. And just deep meditation. And Tibetan monks have taken, say, 15 years to reach a deep theta state for meditation. And basically you listen to a CD 15 minutes, you're straight in there.
Wow, it's fascinating stuff. Do you enjoy, I don't know if enjoy is the right word, talking to people who don't share the same positivity and outlook as you? Because there are a lot of people out there, and I'll hold my hand up, I like to consider myself to be a fairly positive person.
Sure.
But there are days and times where I just think, oh, do you know what? Is life really worth all this hassle? There's moaning, there's war in the world, there's poverty in the world, there's people dying from famine, and you think, oh, it's hard to be positive all the time. So you're quite rare in a way.
Okay.
So when you come across people who are quite negative and cynical and judgmental, do you see that as a challenge, or do you just not waste any time with those kinds of people?
I listen, but I mean, personally, I know you did the news here and everything, but I don't listen to the news or read papers, because I find it's a lot of distraction from myself. And really, I'm not Superman. I know it sounds bad, but I can't go around and save those people. I can put my thoughts out there, but there's nothing I can do. It's already happened. And so I don't pay attention to the news. If
You're not the only one.
if it did affect my life, I know about it. That's how I see it. So the people who come who are negative, if they are negative or whatever, or just interested or criticising,
yeah.
I'm used to it. I've had loads of people, and it's their truth. We all have our own truth, and I've been through so much truth myself. I know that what I'm doing is right. So I know where I stand really, and yeah.
You're 25,
Okay.
so it's a quarter of a century, as you pointed out earlier on. But what does the future hold for you? What would you like to see go on in the future? I mean, obviously your retreat's only not even been open in just a year.
Yeah.
So what would you like to see in the next sort of 5-10 years?
Well, I'd like to be there for this year and a little bit of next year, and I'd like to go travelling around the world at some point, because I love doing healing and sound harmonics as well, overtones. I don't know if you heard of them.
No, they're a band. I played them. They were album of the week a couple of weeks ago. The overtones. I know, go on, tell me about overtones.
It's basically using your voice as it's almost like a mantra, but it's nothing religious. It's something that can be scientifically proven. There's a guy called Dr. Monomoto, I can't remember his name. He's from Japan.
Right.
And he's done these chants over water, and you can see it zoom into water particles, and it's changed the molecular structure of water. And like dirty water, it's changed to some like pure.
No.
Yeah, really interesting.
That's spooky.
Yeah. So what I do now, I've been doing healing for about 7 years now. Hands-on healing. You can call it spiritual healing, whatever you want to call it. But now I do a lot of harmonics overtones with my voice. So it's you do like one tone and you create another tone at the same time. It's like resonance, and just do that through the body of somebody. And I've had so much feedback. People have felt really cleared in themselves. People have cried after, because it's like releasing emotions. So that's what I like to do, is just travel, just experience with that, and just experience different sacred sites. Just travel the world and meet some amazing people, I'm sure.
Well, do you know what? Whatever people might think, whether they're sceptical, whether they disbelieve, whether they don't have time for it, or whether they're a positive person, I think what you've achieved so far is just such a great outlook. To meet you and to talk to you just have such a positive outlook, and I think even if you can just spread some of that you'll have done a good job. It's been great to meet you.
And you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you for being part of Somerset Lives. You can read more about Richard and what his family have done on their website, parsonageside-retreat.webs.com, to find out more, and you can see about the work that they did to the site there as well. Richard Bexx, my Somerset Lives guest this morning. Richard, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Cheers.
More to come here from Puritan, including lots of great music for you as well. And